Yay, it's my birthday today. I'm very excited, as you can tell. Another year closer to the inevitable demise. But we have to live in the moment, and that's why we're here. We're here to watch what I could possibly have done to justify the name that I've given this video. Don't know if anyone remembers back in July of last year when I uploaded a Mag Cargo run and it had terrible audio to background music balance, because I was heavily drunk at the time. But I said in that video if it got 300 likes then I would do a water spout only run, and I noticed recently that it has hit that 300 mark, so I thought, well, I'm a man of my word, I'm going to do it. I then had the small measure of figuring out what Pokemon I was going to use to do this run, and I looked at the available Pokemon in those generations that could use water spout, and there are only 2 viable candidates, and I have made a choice, but you'll have to wait into the actual video itself to see which one I've chosen. I don't think you're going to be disappointed though. And because I can't be asked to talk about anything else and it's my video so I do what I like, we're going to kick off the game by choosing the female character, and as I'm feeling a bit fruity, I do decide to name us Jeff. Why? Because I've got to keep you lot on your toes, that's why. We then get to nickname our far superior rival, bestowing upon him the legendarily inventive name of Breph. Listen, if you thought you were dodging that lion, you are sorely mistaken, son. Buck your ideas up, you know damn well I'm not getting rid of that thing. I was going to script in a joke about an old man dragging a young woman off the side of the road and into an abandoned property that he owns, but given the current state of the United Kingdom and the events that have transpired over the last few weeks, I think I'm going to give that one a miss. But this is the time that everyone's come here to see. You're all now wondering what Pokemon I've chosen, and as you can see, I've gone with Kyogre. Some of you might be questioning why I've chosen that legendary Pokemon, but the thing is, Kyogre's an old whale of a bitch, a lot like your mum, and therefore I've named it Sperm Whale. And a quick reminder to those of you that are currently typing an angry comment because you're offended, you've essentially just called your own mother a whore, and quite frankly, I think you should have a little bit more respect for your dear old mother. Anyway, the initial fight against myself is a bit of a hashtag Breff's a pleb moment from me, because I replaced Smoochum thinking it was the closest to a water type, but oops, I can't be asked to go back and do all that save file work again, so we're using it and winning easily. Permission to type an angry comment about this is granted. Kyogre is of course overpowered, what with it being a legendary and all, so it might surprise nobody that for once I can beat the optional rival fight at the lowest level I've ever tried it. You know, this might be a quick run, it might even be finished faster than me and the last girl I was talking to, and that was over pretty quickly, let me tell you that for nothing. When we reach Brock, we're a measly level 10, the same level as his starting Pokemon actually. Given the Rock-type gym is up first, I don't anticipate an issue here, and even against his team of 6, the Sperm Whale sprays a fat load of water over the Brock, who hands us the badge, and we're moving on towards demonetization and a knock at the door come 3 AM. But first, Mount Moon. I picked the dome fossil. Move on. Don't you dare even think about asking in the comments either. Now when we get to Cerulean, we go in and bring out your mum's namesake and likeness to challenge Misty. This gym wasn't fun, and I had a realisation that this incarnation of your mum isn't actually into shock play like she was with me last night in real life. Starmie is quicker than me in bed, and that is brutal with a move that does less damage with HP loss. Couple that with paralysis and we had a recipe for disaster. So I do some levelling and it's touch and go with Misty, the same way that could be used to describe your brother's sex life, but the winner of the 2021 Twinkly Eye Wrinkly Thigh competition leans back and sprays its liquidy substance all over Misty, leaving her and her little swimmers drenched from head to toe and ultimately winning us the badge for the gym. Hang on guys, someone's at the door. Anyway, now having cleared that awkward situation up, we head up and challenge Breph. That is such a weird sentence to say. However, as in real life, Breph is easy, but this version, well, I think he's a bit weird personally, because he seemed to give in to water sports a lot more willingly than his real life counterpart would. But we move. We move to Bill's house, and Bill must be a code name because we walk in on a bald-headed man with a backpack that says world's favourite doctor, lawyer, teacher, plumber, astronaut and electrician on it, desperately trying to remove himself from the poor Clefairy doll on the floor. Horrifying if you ask me, but Geezer had good form, so we took some notes and politely offered to help. The reward we're given was twofold, but according to the man who calls himself the world's favourite lawyer, the only one that I'm legally allowed to talk about on camera is the gifting of the SS ticket to us, for some reason anyway. But I'm not afraid of lawsuits, so what he did was he pulled down his whipped cream off of it, but then he cried, which was a bit strange. Anyway, once down in Vermilion, we board the SS Anne by flashing the man at the gate, and we make our way up to the captain's room. He's bent over something, complaining of severe abdominal pain, but having picked up a bit of medical knowledge from the world's favourite doctor, we diagnose the cat with blue balls, leaning around the front and treating his condition while whispering in his ear those infamous words. I'm the captain now. Captain emote now available for any channel member, so if you're interested in getting your hands on those 2 new ones that have gone live, hit the little join button down below, but not before the subscribe and like buttons. No, seriously, do it or I'll find you and drop kick you in the teeth, you fat useless little ginger cunt. Do you want to know something more painful than the condition of the captain though? How freaking slowly the ship sails away, and yes, we're watching this clip in real time. But thankfully for me, I've only pulled out 3 toenails and sacrificed 12 orphans out of boredom in that time it took to play. A record low. God, I must be getting slow in my old age. But for a real pain, we have to first try to beat Lieutenant Surge. On the way in towards the gym, we collect a Squirtle from this lovely lady, giving it the nickname of Dick Squirt. Believe it or not, this is a naming scheme question, and the first person to comment down below the correct reference gets a shout out in the next one. But oh my god, the Lieutenant. Do you have any idea the pain the Lieutenant caused me? Have you ever had to press the E key on your keyboard 6 times in a row? I got such severe finger cramp from fingering that one little key for so long, man. That shit really hurts. Honestly, a horrible pain. 11 out of 10, do not try this gym. Heading into Rock Tunnel, we do meet a fan of Pat Benatar, like me, although I only figured this out in court because he told us to hit him with our best shot, and apparently whipping out the sperm whale that is named after your mum and spraying him counts as something called gross indecency? Whatever. We pay up all the polka dollars that the judge demands and make our way back on our quest, picking up again at the gym with Erika. And yes, this is a lower level, but guess what? Pillock forgot to save the game after beating Misty and had to go all the way back to before that fight and do it all over again because he reset the game after losing a fight. Oh, good lord. So yeah, I decided to cut some time off and discover all the locations for later ease before going to the ship and doing all of that stuff again. Yep. Hashtag Breff's a pleb. As a consequence of my major plebitude, we do arrive at Erika slightly over the level I would have otherwise liked to have been at. But as it turns out, we encountered one of the 2 things that I knew would cause me grief. Someone so desperately into the water sports side of things that it only makes them finish faster. AKA a Swift Swim user. Ludicolo basically walls us, as not only does Giga Drain heal her, but it weakens our attacks. It wasn't possible without holding on for crit luck, and even then I wasn't confident about finding it. I realised that there was potentially one held item that could really help us out here, so I set about on the task of retrieving it. The first stop on that task was heading into the rocket hideout and making Giovanni and his entire team submit to the drippy power of our old whale before heading into the Lavender Tower and rescuing Mr. Fuji from the clutches of evil. Yeah, this is going exactly where you think it is. We need leftovers. On the way down, I bump into the second issue of this run, a tiny, pathetic little tadpole that is just absolutely in love with being part of our spray fest, aka a water absorb user. Oh boy, this one, if we find a mandatory fight of this, runs over. Thankfully, the fishermen are optional, and a quick reset later and we make it to those prized leftovers. Thanks to Snorlax, we get them, equipping them, and going back in with a few new levels to our name as well. Erika is now a joke. I mean, well, a lucky crit on Ludicolo is responsible for that one shot, but hell, I'll take it. Is this run more of a joke than the state of my channel? Well, That's pushing it a little bit, but we are well on our way to that point for sure. With Erika done, I decide I'm going to head down to Fuchsia City and tackle the poison type gym in Koga. I didn't really anticipate this being a problem until I actually stepped into it. Now I know that Electrode is a ridiculously fast Pokemon, and the fact that it knows Thunder when I have Drizzle doesn't work in my favour, especially not the first time, because we get hit by that and we're dead. But yeah, I learned that we essentially had 3 different ways the AI played this fight. Either Electrode used Thunder and killed us outright, or it used Sharpen, allowing us to move on. Our next problem was the Tentacruel. It either used Surf, in which case we were fine to defeat it, thanks to leftovers regaining some of our health, or it used Mirror Coat, in which case we died straight away. But thankfully this wasn't too long. I mean, it may have taken me 5 minutes worth of resets, which in the grand scheme of things is nothing. And with Koga down, we gain the ability to Surf. And to be honest, up until now, we haven't actually had a particularly difficult fight. Not since Misty's gym at the very least, but with us being so overpowered and gaining levels, it's not really been a problem. So I decide I'm going to surf over to Cinnabar and do things a little out of whack, just to try and find one. Fun fact though, the only other thing I found on Cinnabar was another entity older than your mum, but it's looking the complete inverse as Blaine is all dried up and looks to have been for quite some time. Your mum, despite being at a level disadvantage for the first time in a long time, reinvigorates that passionate fire inside of him, and before long his bald head is dripping and he's shaking it off and handing us our payment in the form of a gym badge. Then it's back into Saffron to do the bits we should have already done, including the fight with Breph. Man, am I really this annoying / easy to mess with in real life as I am in this game? Despite having some damn speedy boys on his team, unfortunately this version of me pays the price for messing with an older and more experienced creature, being put in a nasty position between hard rocks and a wet place, not for the first time in recent history either. Point is, I managed to beat myself off, and then we get to make our way up to Giovanni. He tries to threaten us with a good time by saying we're in to experience a world of pain, but the joke's on you, Giovanni, because I'm both sadistic and masochistic, and I don't really care which one of us is in pain. Turned out I'm more predominantly sadistic, because it was only Giovanni himself that experienced a lot of pain. A lot of pain at the old spray hole of your mum. With Giovanni down, I head in to challenge Sabrina, and I'm bitterly disappointed that she doesn't get to keep the whip from her Gen 1 sprite, because Christ, the things that I could do with that whip. But let's keep it short, sweet and simple, because this was a really easy fight, and before long we've claimed the 6th gym badge in the 7th gym badge slot. Yeah, I've really messed this game's order up. But that's it. With 7 badges left, I know we've just beaten Giovanni, but it's time to head down to the Viridian City gym, the final roadblock before the Elite Four, and yeah, run's dead, everyone. Remember earlier when I said if we fight a mandatory trainer with a water absorber, it's all over? Well, we've fallen into the pitfall trap here. This fighty boy has the dreaded Poliwrath on his team with that water absorb ability, and we need to beat him to even reach Giovanni. So, no, you cannot beat Omega Fire Red with only Water Spout, as you technically need to use Struggle. Ah, balls, it looks like your mum's finally been all drained out. But to quote the words of the late Freddie Mercury, the show must go on. Leave a comment down below whether you think this is a fail to the run or not. I'm curious to get the feedback. Either way, we struggle through and we make our way to the Big G. Well, seeing as we've already buggered the run like a priest buggers the arsehole of a Catholic altar boy, let's make this ending a little bit quicker than usual, eh? The ancient sperm whale must be shattered right about now. After all, if I had to guess, your mum's more of a dinner and bed by 9:30 kind of person, eh? Geo? Piece of piss, mate. Only potential issues were Tyranitar with Sandstream, but our leftovers negate that effect completely, and the fact that that damn Swampert is such a bulky boy. Nevertheless, the gym leader himself is more of a wet wipe than even I anticipated him being, because as soon as we're done administering the paddle firmly against the cheeks of his bare ass, he flees like the little bitch boy he is. Huh. I see where his son gets it from now.
Now that's edgy as fuck?
Breph fight. For the last time as my rival now, and it caused me a headache at first, as his Meganium always went for Frenzy Plant and basically killed us off with it. Luckily for me, I had a couple of rare candies in the bag from my travels and I put them to use here. I did the very brief grind to level 61 and topped it off with the 2 rare candies. At level 63, the AI kind of bugged out, and instead of Frenzy Planting, it used Light Screen, essentially allowing us easy reign over my alter ego for the final time as equals. Next time, I will be better. And as it turned out, I kind of won. Breph kind of won, because as I feared, Lorelei was up next, and her Lapras, yep, water absorber. That Lapras just loves being wet, and all I can do is spray it more. Unfortunately, due to the order in which it comes out, struggle isn't even an option, so I hate to say it, but it's cheating time. Yeah, that's right, gents, lock up your wives, because I'm in the mood to cheat my way through this patch of life, and I am not doing it alone. I need a naughty little sex slave, wait, sorry, I misread the script there, HM slave to see me through. A quick call to your wife later, and I'm moving out of town, which is where I run into Bruno. And Bruno, well, he wants to cuck me back for what I did with your wife. Ah, crap. Right at the end of his party is another one of those bastard little water absorbers. I guess you managed to take your Polly wrath out on me for all those wife jokes after all. Back in with the slave, and a quick move on to Agatha, and it's not going very well for me all of a sudden. Professor Oak's walking fleshlight is even more unhappy with me, because she leads off with a Shedinja. Oh, come on game, this is a joke now. You all know the drill, Armaldo fly, and it's switching back into Kyogre. A few resets after that due to the damn Crobat, and it's Lance time, baby. Lance can go crawl into an hole and die. I mean, god damn, this is one brutal motherfucker. Between the paralysis from Gyarados and the fact that I can't get past the last Dragonite without crit luck, I'm not having the party I wished I was at this point in the game, to be honest. The key's needing a crit on the Gyarados to avoid the paralysis, and eventually I do get it. But it took, and I make no lie here, I actually made a tally on the Word document which I'm scripting this part, because it's 3 o'clock in the morning and I'm doing this as I record the game. 73 resets. I counted a tally in the damn document. 73 resets. Enough said, really. But the champion fight's going to need some detailed explaining, so bear with me. And here it goes. I have one final rare candy, and I pop it, elevating us to the most nice level imaginable. And we step in. I start by sending in a Heracross, but the little bug is squished under the might of the wettest, oldest creature recorded since your mum appeared on the local news that one time. I use Water Spout to knock it out in one move, and next I send in my starter because I'm such a pleb I'd send in a fire type against a sperm whale. I use Water Spout once again and get a lucky high damage roll. Thank God, it was totally and unequivocally necessary. Trust me on that. Ampharos comes out and I'm scared, so I misclick and actually end up using Water Spout rather than my intended move, which was Water Spout, and we get super lucky taking it out in just one shot. Meganium comes in and it's freaky to me. Thankfully, it doesn't actually attack me, instead setting up screens and draining a full restore in the process. Thanks to our full health, I just spam away with Water Spout and we get the KO, although my plan was, if we took damage, to switch it up with a cheeky Water Spout instead of Water Spout and see how it went. Metagross comes out next, and one Water Spout does more than expected, fortunately knocking it out and leaving us with the final member of my team, Walrein. Tragically, we've run our PP dry, so we can't Water Spout, but we do have a good alternate move in Water Spout. A few of them and a full restore later, and we've finally gotten your mum through Fire Red Omega and into the Hall of Fame, with its description being listed as inducted into the Hall of Fame for being the oldest, wettest entity the world has ever seen. Well, there we have it. I'm a man of my word, and anyone that was guessing the context of that title, now you know. The difficulty with this challenge was going to be finding a game to do it in and actually making a game where you can only use one move seem interesting. I'm not going to lie, I'm kind of hoping that I've been able to do that, but that's up to you guys, so please do leave a comment down below voicing your thoughts and opinions. And yeah, why not slap a like as well, because that sort me right out, that will. Huge thank you to all the channel members, specifically though to Metal Hammer, Spyro and Brace. Thank you all so much for your support. And if joining the channel to get your hands on those emotes that have now come out is something you'd like to do, of course nobody ever has to, but if you do want to, there is a link in the description and a little join button down below. It's also right next to that big red subscribe button, and if it is red for you, click it. Trust me, it gives you 1,000 quid. It doesn't, but who knows? It might do. It's worth a go. Anyway, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you're all staying safe out there, and I look forward to seeing all of you, and hopefully some more, in the next one.